Which games are must bets for week 12 of the 2023 NFL season? What's going on, gridiron gamblers? It's Mitch back here with another week of my NFL best bets versus the spread. This time for week 12 of the 2023 NFL season. My goal is to help you win some money each week this NFL season. And I let you down last week. I had a bad week, and it happens betting on the NFL. But what we have done this year, coming off a bad week, is we respond in a big way. And that's what I plan on doing in this video. So, if you're with me, Gronk spike the like button. Don't forget to subscribe for weekly NFL best bets just like this. Get in the comment section. Let me know your favorite picks versus the spread for week number 12. And to clarify, this is just the Sunday slate. I already gave my bets out for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So this is the Sunday slate. 6 picks. Let's begin with my first pick versus the spread. And what a better way to get back on track than trust the young phenom. His name is CJ Stroud. I've been betting on CJ Stroud all off season, all draft season, all preseason, and now we're going back to the well with CJ Stroud as an underdog at home, taking on a team he already defeated by 20 points on the road. Yes, give me the Texans plus the points at home versus Jacksonville. In the first matchup, CJ Stroud, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, a 37-17 victory. In that game, the Texans were still featuring not Devin Singletary as the running back, who ran for 4.6 yards per carry. They were featuring Dameon Pierce, who didn't even have 3 yards per carry. The Texans have evolved as a football team since they beat down Jacksonville in week 3. They have gained confidence as an offense. They have trusted CJ Stroud to be their guy, to be the man that pushes them to wins. And their defense has also grown from a pass rushing standpoint. The underlying factor here that I don't feel a lot of people are talking about is the coaching staff of Houston. The San Francisco 49ers played Jacksonville a couple weeks ago. They went into Jacksonville and absolutely dismantled, destroyed that Jacksonville team. There is a San Francisco team down south, and its name is the Houston Texans. DeMeco Ryans, head coach, former defensive coordinator of the 49ers, plays the same defensive system as the 49ers. In fact, he probably operated it at its peak. The offense of Kyle Shanahan has been mostly replicated in Houston by Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator of the Texans. It's no fluke that 2 of the most devastating losses this year by Jacksonville were against the Niners and the Texans. I don't think people are putting enough stock into that fact. This is a bad schematical matchup for the Jags. You also add in the extra layer of watching Tampa Bay's defense give up a perfect passer rating to Brock Purdy last week. The defensive coordinator of Jacksonville is from the Todd Bowles Tampa Bay tree. That's an extra layer on top of everything we've seen. On top of that, CJ Stroud is 5-0 as a pro quarterback when he is an underdog against the spread. He plays better in these moments. Derek Stingley, I feel, is a great matchup for Calvin Ridley in a way that Tennessee did not have a good corner to cover Calvin Ridley. The Texans pass rush, very underrated, I think can get pressure after Trevor Lawrence. San Francisco was all over Trevor Lawrence, and they have a great pass rush. But I think DeMeco Ryans can replicate some of the scheme that San Francisco brought to get pressure on Trevor Lawrence. And what I like most about this game, I just don't think Jacksonville's defense is going to be able to contain CJ Stroud at home. I think the play action, the advanced running game, there's a lot of balance coming from the Texans offense, and as long as Stroud protects the ball, I think he's going to create a lot of big plays with that right arm. And this receiving core continues to be on fire, especially young Tank Dell, who also had a 100-yard game against Jacksonville the first time around. I expect the Texans to win this game at home as an outright underdog. Give me Houston. My second best bet of week number 12 is the Cleveland Brownies getting points on the road at the Broncos. I bet this at plus 2.5. At this point, you're probably better off just taking the money line, as you might be with the Texans as well. So if you want to take the money line with the Texans and the Browns, I don't hate it whatsoever. The point spread is just here for the details, for the video. But I don't see why not taking the money line with such a short spread. The Cleveland Browns are straight up a better team than Denver. They're higher rated in my power rankings. And the best unit on the field in this game is the Cleveland Browns defense. In fact, the Cleveland Browns defense is the best defense in the NFL. So you take into account that Cleveland has the best defense in the NFL. They're facing an offense in Denver that is average. It's mid. It's a unit that needs to be able to run the football to have success. They will power the football no matter what, because that is what they need to do. Cleveland has been very good stopping the run, and if Denver is not effective on early downs, that's going to put Russell Wilson in a lot of dangerous predicaments against Myles Garrett and company. And I could see Russ, traditionally a guy that takes a lot of sacks, taking a lot of sacks. Cleveland also likes to play a lot of man coverage, which I think is advantageous against a guy like Courtland Sutton, who really can't separate. He's a jump ball receiver. And even Jerry Jeudy. I think the Browns secondary is really good at corner and should be able to lock down Denver in the passing game. So I don't see Denver scoring a lot of points, which is a good thing for a Cleveland offense that has a rookie quarterback. But here's the thing. Denver has one of the worst run defenses in all of football. Cleveland is a run-first team. We just saw Minnesota go to Denver and run the football, and Minnesota couldn't run the ball on anyone previously. They were anemic, right? So Cleveland can run the ball in this game. Cleveland can also screen the ball in this game, considering Denver is one of the worst tackling defenses in the NFL. So I like the matchup for Cleveland's offense. I like Cleveland's defense in any matchup. And I do believe that Denver is coming off a fluky victory, and they're due for a loss given all the turnover luck they've been having as of late. So I'm going to take the Browns to even up on the Bronco turnover luck and win this game outright on the road. My third best bet for week number 12 is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting points on the road at the Colts. I like the Bucs plus 2.5 here. They're coming off a tough loss to San Francisco. San Francisco, to me, is the best team in the NFL. San Francisco beat them by 14, but the game was certainly closer in the end than that score. I felt like Tampa Bay could have easily backdoor covered that game, and although San Francisco got out in front and Purdy was super efficient and San Francisco kind of let their foot off the gas, Tampa still looked like a decent team. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting. Tampa is a decent team, but they can't beat the Eagles, the Niners, some of the top teams they've played this year. The Colts are not that team. I think a lot of people have a misleading thought of the Colts. The last time we saw them was before the bye week. Last week they had a bye week. They should have lost to the New England Patriots. I'm a Patriots fan. That team is terrible. That team is one of the worst in the NFL. You should have lost to that team in Germany. You go into the bye week, and Gardner Minshew has slowly been declining in terms of his play. Playing more dangerous football, putting it in harm's way more often. I mean, they needed 2 pick sixes to beat the Panthers a couple weeks ago. Like, the Panthers are bad, the Patriots are bad. Like, these are bad teams the Colts are picking up wins against. The Bucs are a better quality team than that. And what I like about this matchup, I think Tampa Bay can move the ball against a middling Colts defense. I really thought that Baker Mayfield facing a similar scheme against San Francisco had a pretty good game. Baker Mayfield this year is 11th in EPA per play for all quarterbacks. He is a top 12 quarterback this year in EPA. Speaks to his success. Gardner Minshew is 20th. So you get the better quarterback with points in this game. You get the better receiving core with points in this game. You get the better passing game in general in this game. The Colts secondary can't really match up with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. I mean, can you even name a Colts cornerback out there? Right? So, to me, the Bucs should be able to move the ball, especially off of play action. No Grover Stewart with the Colts. That has really weakened their run defense. If you watch that Patriots game, they were just running the ball down their throat. I think Rachaad White will low-key have a good game here. The Colts have been really, really susceptible to the run as of late. So that's going to open up even more for their offense. Then on the other side of the ball, I think it's the opposite. Tampa Bay's defense is first in EPA versus the run. So they're a really good run defense, and Todd Bowles is going to be able to, against a pocket quarterback like Gardner Minshew, really send a lot of different dynamic blitzes and perhaps force a couple turnovers, sacks, pressures, things of that nature. And the Colts are not an explosive passing game. They don't really have anyone that's super fast or dangerous on the outside. I think Carlton Davis is a good matchup for Michael Pittman in this game. I really like the scheme matchup. I like the strength versus strength matchup. I like Tampa Bay in this game. I think they're the better team. I have them higher ranked in my power rankings. They're getting points. You've got the better quarterback, and I think you've got the better defense here on the road going to Indianapolis. The Colts coming off a bye with a respectable coach like Shane Steichen is a tad scary, but I'm taking the team I've just been more impressed with lately, and I like a lot of the matchups in this game. So give me the Bucs plus 2.5. My fourth best bet for week number 12. I'm going to take the Los Angeles Rams getting a point as an underdog on the road against the Cardinals. The first time these two teams played, the Rams dismantled the Cardinals. It was 26-9 final score, and the Cardinals had Josh Dobbs in that game, right? And Josh Dobbs has become a pretty respected quarterback. How much better is Kyler Murray than Josh Dobbs? Does a Kyler Murray Cardinals team really make that big of a difference, right? The Rams actually were a 7.5 point favorite entering that game in LA. And they won the game decisively and covered that spread. Now they're underdogs on the road against Kyler Murray. Is Kyler Murray 8.5, 8 points better than Josh Dobbs? I don't think so, personally. Now, I know that Kyler has played well and looks pretty good, but this is a Rams team that knows how to play Kyler. They're familiar with Kyler. They know that they need to get pressure up the middle, force him to make throws where he can't really see over the middle of the field. They know they have to contain the pocket. This is a smart coaching staff. Raheem Morris is a really good defensive coordinator. And Sean McVay's the better coach in this game. And Matthew Stafford, you forget about him, he's a pretty good quarterback. Also, the Rams get their main tailback back in Williams, who had a historic day for them in that game. He had over 150 yards and 7.9 yards per carry. They really ran the ball successfully in that first Cardinals game. I think they'll do the same here, which is a big deal because the Rams, when they run the ball, are a lot better of an offense. That opens up all the play action stuff for Sean McVay, which is his bread and butter throughout the years in LA. On top of that, it keeps pressure away from Stafford, which has been his main weakness this year. The Rams, as a drop-back passing team, that is their weakness. If they can run the ball, they stay out of those situations, and they can operate in a short, quick passing game, a play-action game, and a screen game, which is where they're very comfortable. On top of that, the Cardinals are not a good pressure team. They're one of the bottom 5 or 6 in pressure on quarterbacks. They're one of the worst teams in terms of completion percentage allowed. They're one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. So overall, there's a lot of things to like about the Rams offense in this game. And then just the familiarity of Raheem Morris versus Kyler Murray. I like that matchup for the Rams on top of Aaron Donald still being on our side. So I just think the Rams are the better team here, and they're getting a point. I know they're on the road, but I can't look at that first matchup and say there's not value on this game. So I'm going with the Rams plus a point. I'd take the money line to beat the Cardinals. My 5th best bet is Sunday Night Football, and probably my favorite bet of the week, the Baltimore Ravens minus 3.5. This spread just doesn't make any sense. It actually began at 4. Somebody was betting it down to 3.5. I don't know who. This game does not make sense. This spread does not make sense. And maybe that's why you wouldn't want to bet it. But man, you look at this, I just think the Chargers are a team that's overrated. Like, they've been overrated all year. They were overrated all preseason. People still talk about them like they're a playoff team. Like, no, they never have been. I never picked them to go to the playoffs. They're never even a threat. This team is not that talented. They're not that good. And the coaching is even worse, right? All they are is Justin Herbert. That's all they are, Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert is facing one of the best pass defenses in football, the leading sack team in the NFL, one of the best defenses in football. Marlon Humphrey is back, who's a perfect matchup in the slot versus Keenan Allen with the size and all of that stuff. I don't see Keenan Allen going off, which is their only competent receiver. Quentin Johnson dropping the ball. Jalen Guyton is irrelevant. Austin Eckler is washed. The O-line is decent at best. There's nothing to love about this offense. I wouldn't be shocked if Baltimore's defense actually laid one on in this game. Like, I wouldn't be shocked if people after Sunday night are like, oh, Herbert sucks. But it's really just that the Ravens are that much better on that side of the ball. I don't think people realize that it's all Herbert. And I just don't think Herbert is going to beat this scheme from McDonald here. And I don't think that the Chargers are going to be able to put up more than 20. And I look at the Ravens on their side, and are they going to be stopped? I understand Mark Andrews is out, but the Ravens can run the ball with the best of them, with their quarterback or their running game, with Keaton Mitchell hitting home runs, Gus Edwards plowing people and running them over. I mean, the Chargers are not a good run defense. We saw that again against the Packers, and that just opens everything up. The receiving core, I thought Odell played well last week. I think he should play this week. Zay Flowers, I think, will play a good game this week. And then you've still got guys like Devin Duvernay and Rashad Bateman and Nelson Aguilar, like guys that can step up and make plays. Isaiah Likely can make plays. Like, yeah, Mark Andrews is gone, but they have more depth than they ever have had. And it all is ran by the magician himself, Lamar Jackson, with a decisive edge on the offensive line for the Baltimore Ravens. They're playing a defensive line with no Joey Bosa. So I don't really see the Chargers getting a great pass rush, stopping the run. This is going to be a lot like the Lions, except the Lions with a defense. That's how I see it. I think Baltimore goes into LA and layeth the smack-a-downeth on the candy asses of the Chargers. My 6th and final best bet is going to be Monday Night Football, the Minnesota Vikings. I'd prefer it at a 3 instead of a 3.5. And I do think it's going to get to 3 eventually, so I would just wait. Because I think people are going to overreact to Justin Fields. Like, they always do. They buy into the hype. It is what it is. And the Lions defense is not good. Like, let's just be honest. The Lions defense is not good. The Vikings defense is actually worlds better than the Lions. I know that the talent is actually probably on the Lions side, but Brian Flores is such a great coordinator, which is what I'm really handicapping here. Like, I know Minnesota's going to move the ball and score points. I don't really need to dive into that. They're going to move the ball. They're going to score points at home. They always do. We know this. Right? Kevin O'Connell's one of the best play callers in football, and at home, they just seem to score 24-plus points. It's just what they do. Right? Josh Dobbs, Kirk Cousins, doesn't matter. Defensively, let's go back to the first game, Vikings and Bears. Justin Fields got knocked out of the game by Brian Flores' defense. Part of the reason, he was sacked 4 times early in that game. 4 times. He threw an interception. He was 6 for 10 for 58 yards, 1 interception, 4 sacks. Justin Fields is going to come back down to earth here. That was in Chicago. This time it's in Minnesota with the crowd noise. Really like the blitzing game plan of Flores, with Fields being a guy that's a slow processor and a guy that winds up and takes forever to get rid of the ball. I think this is a perfect matchup for Brian Flores' scheme to get home, to create turnovers, and to make a huge difference in this game. So I really, really like the Vikings defense in this game. And then the Vikings offense, we just know, is more effective at home. And the Bears defense is not very good. I mean, they're not as good as Denver's defense. I thought Minnesota played pretty well outside the turnovers on offense. We saw Detroit run the ball on the Bears. We know you can pass on them. So overall, I think that O'Connell finds a way on offense. I think Flores just puts on a show on defense. And I think the Bears are being a tad overrated right now. And the Vikings are still being a little bit underrated with Josh Dobbs under center. So give me the Vikings -3, -3.5, but I would prefer to take the 3 on Monday Night Football. There it is, guys. My best bets for week number 12 on Sunday and Monday. Thanks so much for watching. It's Mitch. Subscribe. Gronk spike the like button. We'll see you soon. Peace.